In today's video, we're going to have a look at what's going on with earnings season today. We're also going to be looking at Gamestop, and in addition to all of that, a quick COVID update for you all as well. Hello and welcome to another acysecurities daily report video. My name is Alistair Schultz and I'm going to be your host through today's trading journey. Now in today's quick video, we're having a look at the US market. On open, it was quite flat, and this is all ahead of what's going on with earnings season. The chart behind me, we have the S&P 500. You'll find the NASDAQ is also sitting pretty flat as well, meaning that we've seen price open and close at very similar price points. Now, what's going on? We've got earnings season this week for tech companies. So we are going to be hearing from Tesla. We've heard from Microsoft in the after hours action in the overnight session. And we're also going to be hearing from a variety of other tech companies, including Apple and a variety of others. So keep an eye on those this week. They will have a fairly large impact. Most of us are going to be looking to see if they've actually had fourth revenue growth. And we're also going to be looking to see how it looks between 2020 and 2019. So this might be the time to start considering and having a look, are my valuations on some of these companies worth my ownership of the stock? So keep that bearing in mind. It is probably going to be busy from that idea anyway. And there are a number of other companies. We're going to be hearing from Visa this week as well. So keep a look, have a look at all your earnings calendars and see where you might get some effect or exposure. Now, moving on from the flat talk, I'm having a look at Gamestop, or the NYSE ticker code is under GME. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this over the weekend that we've just had, and we've found that there's obviously been a big rise in the price just recently. Now, what's gone on exactly? What we've had is an example of what we consider to be a short squeeze. The last time we saw something like this was with VW back well after the GFC. And at that time, it was a little bit of an announcement that Porsche was buying over them. A lot of people had been short on VW at the time and were waiting for price to continue dropping. All of a sudden, you had a whole heap of people wanting to buy, and we were finding short sellers were either needing to cover their calls or they were going to run out of money very, very quickly. So the same sort of thing is actually going on with GameStop. GameStop being a retail gaming-based company, they sell games on the retail front and don't actually manufacture their own. So they're not on that tech side so much. Either way, what we're seeing over the last year with the pandemic is that their stock price was falling, not unconcernably, but because of all of what's gone on with the pandemic and retail buying being a little bit less than normal. So for the last little while, we've seen prices really fluctuating between that sort of $20 range and below. Even in December, we were seeing prices in the $11 and $12 range. And now in about 4 days, we've seen the price rise well and truly above $150. In the after hours, it's currently sitting at about $207, $208 per share. And we've also seen in the close yesterday was at $147.98. So we've now got all these people sort of investing into it. There's a massive thread on Reddit in the Wall Street Bets section where you were able to get a little bit more information on what's going on. But effectively, there's been nearly 2 million people, if not more, trying to get a piece of the action. And so we're getting a lot of momentum occurring, and it is driving the prices up higher and higher again. Now, really, this doesn't have too much justification for its rise. It's just that there is a lot of demand for it at this very moment. We saw the same thing when we looked at Hertz. Hertz is a bankrupt company. The fundamentals do not stand there. But in the instance of VW, and this is where I'm going to be looking at it for GME at the moment, in VW's instance back then, it actually made it to be the most valuable company in the world just from people wanting to get in on the action. So this time around, we might see something similar. If history does repeat itself, then that would be the way you'd be inclined to go. But in order for that to happen, we need to see a stock price well over $1,000. So I don't think that is like an option for us to really go for at this point in time. Now, moving on, Microsoft earnings season's results have already come out. They came after the bell early hours this morning. We have seen them actually have some pretty good growth over 2020. Fourth quarter as well, with an increase of about $43 billion, which is a little bit above what the estimates were. Their earnings per share has also been above, with more than 39 cents above. They're sitting at $2.03. We've seen a 34.4% gain on there. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing through across the entire operations of Microsoft from that earnings report are showing growth. And Microsoft is one of those blue chip sort of companies that does continually grow, and that's a good piece of information to sort of have. Additionally, the interesting factor that I pulled out of the report is that if you actually look at their Xbox services and content, that's had like a 40% rise, or 38% if you put it as a currency without the fluctuation. So it has been improving quite well on that front. And naturally, they've had a new Xbox console come out. Even though they've had a little bit of mishap on its release, it still has seen a pretty good run in the last year or so. So I am going to be keeping an eye on what happens in Microsoft. It is one of those good tech companies that I think will remain good. So we'll have to see where it goes from here on out. Now, looking at what's going on with COVID around the world, there's been a lot of talk on the vaccinations. We know that the idea of the vaccine rollout has not gone to exactly plan, and they are trying to get it to roll out much faster. Regardless of that, they've actually gotten 68.1 million doses of the vaccine out and into people so far, but we're also seeing those case numbers rise. We're over 100 million cases. We've got more than 2.1 million deaths. And we've heard from the WHO this morning, the WHO, World Health Organization, who have said that the current phase of rollouts and how quickly they can get vaccines out and about doesn't seem like it's going to be able to impact the ability of the virus to actually transmit between individuals for the foreseeable future. Until we get to a much higher level of immunizations occurring, then it is going to be more on the coronavirus case winning versus the vaccine starting to win the battle. So we do have a little while to go on that, and investors are starting to feel that. They are looking at the idea of there are probably going to have to be more lockdowns, and they're just holding off on doing what they want to do next. So we are going to have to wait for more information, see what comes next, and obviously keep an eye on how this is projecting over the next year or so. Now, looking at what the news ahead of today, we have Australian CPI figures coming out. We also have the NAB Business Confidence Survey being released, so that'll be good to look at, particularly if you are trading the Aussie dollar. We've also then got German 10-year bonds and the damage on those at this point coming forward. And we've also got the FOMC statement in the early hours of tomorrow morning. It'll be about 6 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if you are awake and about at that time, have a look at the FOMC statement to see what the next lot of monetary policy decisions from the Fed might actually be. Now, if you have any questions from today's video, feel free to contact me through any of my social media channels. They're all available on the screen behind me right now. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video so you can get more great content from me and ACY Securities in the future. Have a great trading day ahead.